Back to the 1980s. On the very first day I transferred to the new school, Ryan Hall dragged me into a corner and gave me a harsh warning. "Lily Summers, you'd better behave yourself. I'm never going to marry you, so don't even think about it." My eyes lit up. "Really? That's great. I wasn't planning to marry you either. After all, your grades aren't even as good as mine." I watched Ryan grit his teeth and storm off, feeling completely calm inside. In this lifetime, I would never cling to him again. Wait, something felt off. I had been reborn back to the 1980s. When the Hall family's car came to pick me up, that was when I finally realized I had truly come back. In my previous life, I had married Ryan Hall, but his heart always belonged to his childhood sweetheart, Jenny Chan. I was jealous, insecure, and constantly picked fights. Until one day, Jenny and I were caught in an earthquake and buried under the rubble together. Ryan personally led the rescue team. He saved her first. The two of them clung to each other, and I was so furious that I literally died of anger. In this life, the moment I saw Ryan again, I suddenly thought he really wasn't that great after all. After he left, I returned alone to the Hall residence and went straight to find Uncle Henry. "What? You want to call off the engagement, Lily? Did Ryan bully you again? I'll teach that boy a lesson right now." Uncle Henry's temper flared instantly. He was already about to rush off, but I quickly stopped him. "No, Uncle, it's not like that. I want to break off the engagement myself. I want to take the college entrance exam and see more of the world. When my dad was still alive, he always wanted me to keep studying." At the mention of my father, Uncle Henry went silent. He and my dad had been as close as brothers. My father died saving him, and before he passed away, he entrusted me to Uncle Henry's care. To repay that debt, Uncle Henry had promised to look after me for life and arranged for me to marry Ryan. But I didn't want that kindness to become a chain that bound me forever. "Uncle Henry, I'm serious. I don't want to disappoint my dad." Uncle Henry sighed deeply. "Lily, you've always known your own mind. Since you've decided, I'll respect it. But you're still part of this family. I promised your father I wouldn't let you suffer." I let out a breath of relief. "Thank you, Uncle. From now on, you'll be my real family, and Ryan will just be my big brother." Uncle Henry gave a helpless smile, then took my hand and led me to the dining table. When Ryan heard that I wanted to break off the engagement, his face darkened. "What? Trying to play hard to get?" Uncle Henry was about to scold him, but I only smiled lightly. "I mean it. You've got half a year until the college entrance exam. I'm sure I'll get into college." Ryan sneered. "If you actually get in, I'll crawl around the courtyard 3 times. "It's a deal," I said calmly. Uncle Henry could only shake his head with a small smile, watching us argue. "Ryan Hall, you're definitely going to lose. I thought no one can stop me anymore." That night, I locked myself in my room and started reviewing all my notes. Then from outside the door, I suddenly heard a startled female voice. "What did you say, Ryan? Lily must have seen me with you. She's upset. That's why she said those things. I should go talk to her. After all, your family owes her, and it's only right to make it up to her." Thud. No need to look. I knew Ryan had just punched the wall. No wonder in my previous life, he always looked at me with that conflicted expression. Married to me but thinking of Jenny. So someone had been feeding him twisted ideas about guilt and repayment all along. I stood up, walked to the door and opened it. Jenny Chun froze when she saw me, her face pale with shock. I looked at him with a faint smile. "Make it up to me." "How?" "By giving my dad his life back." Ryan froze. "If I could," I continued quietly, "I wish my father could have stayed with me for decades longer instead of me standing here listening to the two of you gossip behind my back." Ryan's face turned bright red. "You were eavesdropping on us." "I'm not deaf," I said coolly. "You were talking so loud it was impossible not to hear." I turned to Jenny Chun. My expression was calm, so calm it made her panic. But she quickly recovered. "You misunderstood me," she stammered. "That's not what I meant. It's just you and Ryan are living under the same roof." And Uncle Henry even said. I cut her off impatiently. "So what? I can't even stay here temporarily anymore." "Don't worry. I won't be here long. I'll move out soon enough." Ryan's face darkened with irritation. "Lily Summers, we never said anything like that. Jenny didn't mean it that way." I shrugged indifferently. "Doesn't matter. The engagement's already off. And Uncle Henry's agreed. You can relax. I won't bother you anymore. With that, I turned and shut the door behind me. From outside came the soft, tearful sounds of Jenny sobbing, but I didn't feel like paying her any attention. In my past life, she had played the same weak, pitiful act like a delicate white flower, always stirring up trouble between me and Ryan. In the end, that jealousy and resentment had destroyed me. But in this life, I had no intention of getting dragged into any love triangle with her again. Still, Jenny's words had reminded me of something. Living under the same roof really was inconvenient, and Ryan's moods changed faster than the weather. Who knew when he might stir up trouble again? So the next day, I told Uncle Henry that I wanted to move into the school dormitory. Ryan was stunned, then spoke impatiently. You just called off the engagement, and now you want to move out. People might think our family mistreated you or bullied some poor girl. I was genuinely surprised. Wasn't he the one who'd been bullying me all along? I was a transfer student, and on my very first day, rumors spread that I was Ryan Hall's fiancé. He was furious, cornered me in the school cafeteria, and told me to know my place. In my last life, I refused to let go. I kept following him everywhere, determined to win his heart. He found me annoying, scolded me often, and I became the school joke. All I ever got from him was disgust. I looked over at Uncle Henry. He nodded slowly. She's right, Lily. You can stay here with peace of mind. If anyone dares talk behind your back, I'll make sure they regret it. His sharp gaze shifted toward Ryan, but I still insisted. There's no need, Uncle. I've thought about it. It's better if I move into the dorm. I'll be with my classmates and we can study together. It's not convenient for Ryan to help me anyway. His last test score wasn't even as high as mine. Ryan's face turned as black as soot, and he glared at me fiercely. I blinked innocently. What? I'm not wrong. Besides, I added, I don't want to come between you and Jenny and have people gossip. Living under the same roof can make things awkward. Rumors start easily. It just creates tension. So please, Uncle, let me move. Aunt Laura, who had been listening from the side, spoke up with a kind smile. Lily's right. Let her stay at the dorm. We can send her some extra money so she eats well and lives comfortably. Being around people her own age is a good thing. She's doing so well in school. We shouldn't hold her back. I knew Ryan didn't like me. But truth be told, I didn't like Jenny either. In my past life, the reason Ryan and Jenny ended up together was that Aunt Laura had been away in North City at the time, too far to stop them. In my previous life, it was only after I died that they were finally able to get married. So now, hearing that I wanted to move out on my own, Aunt Laura naturally didn't object, especially after Ryan had already spoken up. Uncle Henry sighed heavily. Lily, it's the Hall family who owes you. Don't worry, I'll take care of your housing and meals. A weight finally lifted off my chest. Across the table, Ryan looked sullen, then abruptly stood up. I'm full, he muttered, slinging his bag over his shoulder and heading out the door. Ryan, Aunt Laura called after him. You barely ate anything. Then she turned to me. Lily, take these to him, will you? She wrapped up 2 steamed buns and handed them to me. I nodded, and after breakfast, I carried them with me to school. Just as I reached the school gate, I saw Ryan. And right before I could call out, Jenny-chan ran over to him, smiling sweetly as she handed him a boiled egg. Ryan, I just cooked this for you this morning. Ryan was about to take it when he spotted me approaching. He quickly changed his tone. Forget it. My mom probably told her to bring me buns. If I don't eat them, she'll complain when I get home and mom will scold me again. I just happened to be holding the buns when he said that. Without a second thought, I took a few quick bites and finished them right there. Ryan froze. Lily Summers, that was my breakfast. I turned to him with a raised brow. Didn't you just say you were full before you left? What's wrong, Ryan? Are you deliberately trying to get my attention? We're no longer engaged, and I'm about to move into the dorms. What exactly are you trying to do? Ryan's face darkened. You're unbelievable, he snapped, then spun on his heel and stalked away. Jenny hurried after him. I couldn't help but smirk. How wonderful it is not to have my life revolve around Ryan Hall anymore. The first thing I did after walking into the classroom was to find the homeroom teacher and apply for dorm housing. Mr. Jang was quite kind. Lily Summers, your grades have improved a lot lately. Keep it up and you'll definitely get into your dream college. Here's your key. If you ever need help, just come to me. Thank you, Mr. Jang, I said, then hesitated for a moment. Actually, can I change my seat? I don't want to sit next to Ryan anymore. You've heard the rumors. We're not engaged now, so it's better if we don't sit together. Mr. Jang immediately agreed and arranged a new seat for me. Ryan's face went cold, his expression full of annoyance. Go ahead and sit somewhere else, he said bitterly. You're probably just playing hard to get anyway. I ignored him completely. My new deskmate was a cheerful girl with a round face. As soon as I sat down, she grabbed my arm and started chattering nonstop. Hey, I heard you and Ryan Hall broke off the engagement. Is that true? The news had only spread yesterday, and she already knew. Clearly, some people couldn't wait to talk. I didn't deny it. Yeah, I'm not the type to mistake gratitude for love. Besides, I came here to study, not to get married. I believe in choosing who you love freely. She grinned and gave me a big thumbs up. Right on. Behind us, Ryan let out a cold, dismissive snort, but I pretended not to hear it. The girl introduced herself as Zoe Lin, and we quickly became friends. Coincidentally, she was also assigned to the same dorm room as me. That evening, I went home to pack my things. Uncle Henry handed me some living expenses. Lily, if you run into any trouble, come to me. Don't be shy. I know, Uncle. Don't worry. By the time Ryan got home, I was already reviewing my notes. When he saw my packed luggage by the bed, his eyes narrowed. Lily Summers, are you done with this drama yet? I'll admit, pretending to retreat just to advance, it's a clever trick. I looked up and met his mocking gaze. This side of Ryan Hall was something I had never seen before. In my past life, when I chased after him endlessly, he couldn't even be bothered to say 2 words to me. But now that I had been the one to end the engagement, he kept coming back again and again, as if he just couldn't accept it. When I didn't respond, Ryan frowned and stepped closer. Lily Summers. That's enough already, Ryan snapped. Do you have any idea how lucky you are to have a connection with the Hall family? It's a blessing you wouldn't earn in 10 lifetimes, and you're really willing to give that up. I looked at him calmly. Ryan, are you upset because you can't let me go? What nonsense are you talking about? His face turned crimson with anger. If not, I said evenly, then stay away from me and remember to know your place. That was exactly what Ryan had once said to me in my past life. Now I was simply returning his own words. He slammed his hand against the table, his voice rising. Lily Summers, don't push your luck. Without my family, how do you think you'd ever get into college? You think this is still that poor little village of yours? That test score of yours was just dumb luck. You really think you're some kind of prodigy now? I stared at him, suddenly finding the whole thing laughable. He just couldn't accept that I had been the one to call off the engagement. Nor could he stand the fact that a girl from the countryside had scored higher than him. That's what this was really about. Ryan Hall, I said steadily. Let's make a bet. If I rank in the top 100 in the next monthly exam, then from that day on, you'll stay out of my life and treat me with the respect I deserve. But if I fail, I'll withdraw from school and go back to the countryside. You'll never have to see me again. Do you dare? Ryan glared at me, teeth clenched. Fine, you want to bet? Let's bet, but don't you dare regret it later. It's a deal, I said coldly. And you'd better remember every word I just said. I closed the door firmly. Ryan kicked it twice in anger before stomping off down the hallway. I just shook my head and stayed silent. The next morning, Uncle Henry personally brought my luggage to the school dormitory. Before leaving, he reminded me to take care of myself a few more times before finally heading off. When Zoe saw that I had officially moved in, she was so excited she didn't know what to do with herself. Lily, you're finally here. Now we can study together every day. I couldn't help but smile and pinch her cheek. As long as you don't get tired of me, we'll be fine. Our 2 other roommates, Grace Hua and Sophie Shen, were also easygoing and friendly. Mr. Jang really had gone out of his way to take care of me by arranging for us to share the same dorm room. After Zoe and I finished unpacking and making our beds, we went straight to class. I sat down and immediately buried myself in my studies. In my previous life, I'd given up on the college entrance exam far too early, and my foundation had always been weak. But this time was different. I had a goal, and that made all the difference. Word about the bet between Ryan and me spread quickly, and soon the whole class knew. As soon as I sat down, someone asked mockingly, "Lily Summers, is it true you bet Ryan Hall you'll make it into the top 100? You're too full of yourself." Another boy snorted, "If I were you, I'd start packing my things now. No point wasting time here." I smiled coldly. Then we'll see whether I'm the horse or the donkey when the test results come out. Ryan didn't even score higher than me last time. What right does he have to compete with me? You'll see soon enough. It's only a month away. Try to stay alive until then, will you? The faces of the students who had mocked me flushed bright red. Jenny Chun, who had been standing nearby, spoke gently. "Lily, maybe you should just apologize. We're all classmates. Why make things worse?" I turned to her with a steady gaze. "Apologize for what? I broke off the engagement, but he's the one who keeps bothering me. Just because he's a guy, I'm supposed to back down. If you can't stand seeing it, maybe you should tell Ryan to stop pestering me. Who does he think he is? Does he think I should throw myself at him just to feel honored?" Jenny's face flushed with embarrassment and anger. "What do you mean by that? What am I to him? Why should I tell him what to do?" I tilted my head slightly. "Exactly. Then what are you to me? Who gave you the right to tell me to apologize?" Jenny was instantly speechless, her face stiff with frustration. With nowhere to vent her anger, she could only glare at me before turning away. I glared right back at her, hard enough to make her flinch. Her eyes widened in shock. In the past, whenever she mocked me, I had always stayed silent, swallowing my anger. But now I had learned how to fight back. And for once she didn't know what to say. She just stood there, speechless, pathetic, I thought, before turning away and refocusing on my studies. I went through every single question I had gotten wrong before, carefully organizing a notebook of all my mistakes. Whenever I didn't understand something, I would rush to ask my teachers or classmates during breaks. I was so determined that I even recited vocabulary words while walking to the restroom. Zoe joked that I had gone crazy. But deep down I knew this was my only hope. Only by getting into college could I truly change my fate. For a girl like me, born in the countryside, surviving in this world wasn't easy. Too many people were waiting to see me fail, and I couldn't let that happen. Right now, I was ranked 190th out of more than 800 students. Not terrible, but still far from enough to get into a university. Mr. Zhang noticed my determination and started tutoring me in his free time. At first, other teachers didn't think much of me. They thought I was just some brainless girl chasing after Ryan Hall. When they heard about the bet between us, they all assumed I was just studying for love, a foolish girl's whim. But when they saw how hard I worked, how I filled entire notebooks with corrections and kept studying long after class ended, they realized I was serious. Slowly, they began to change their minds. Some even stayed after school to go over problems with me. In that kind of environment, even my classmates went from treating it like a joke to showing genuine respect. During one lunch break, I couldn't fall asleep, so I went outside to walk off my meal and review some notes. As I passed by the grove near the field, I caught the faint smell of cigarette smoke. That was Ryan's secret hangout spot. I heard a few voices coming from inside. "That Lily Summers girl is serious," one boy said. "She's studying like she's possessed." "Are you worried, Ryan?" another teased. "Worried about what?" Ryan replied indifferently. "If she actually makes the top 100, I'll leave her alone. If she doesn't, she can pack up and go home for good. Works out fine for me either way." He said it so casually that Jenny Chan couldn't help but giggle. "Ryan, have you thought about which college you want to apply to?" "Wherever you go, I'll apply too." "Not sure yet," he said flatly. "Maybe Capital University." My heart gave a dull thud and I quietly turned to leave. In my previous life, he had missed the cutoff for Capital University by 60 points and ended up attending a small local college near home. But now that didn't matter to me anymore. What mattered was my own future. If I could get into a university, I could start my life over again. Over the next month, I threw myself into my studies with everything I had. By the time the exam day arrived, I was so nervous my hands trembled. "Relax," Zoe whispered, squeezing my shoulder. "You'll do great, even if it doesn't go perfectly. You've worked so hard. Mr. Zhang would never let you drop out now. You've got this, Lily. I believe in you." Grace and Sophie chimed in. Good luck, Lily. You can do it. I nodded firmly, trying to steady my breathing. When I saw the test paper, my pulse quickened for a moment, but soon my mind cleared. I recognized the principles. I had studied these problems. I'd even practiced similar ones again and again. Slowly, my nerves settled and I began writing steadily. After the exam, I didn't dare compare answers with anyone. I didn't want to know. Not yet. For days later, the results were finally posted. My stomach twisted with anxiety. Ryan stood nearby with one hand in his pocket, smirking. It's still not too late to beg for mercy, Lily. You can save yourself the embarrassment. I met his eyes. You'll be disappointed, Ryan Hall. I'm not going anywhere. Even though I said it confidently, my heart was pounding. Ryan just looked at me deeply without saying another word. Jenny-chan, however, couldn't hold back. Lily, a bet's a bet. You should accept defeat gracefully. The scores aren't even out yet, I replied coolly. How exactly have I lost? Jenny-chan was struck speechless. This brainless woman, how on earth did I ever lose to her in my previous life? Thinking about it now, all her tricks seemed so cheap and shallow. I didn't bother arguing with either of them. When the scores were finally posted on the school bulletin board, the crowd was so packed I could barely get close. Zoe grabbed my arm and pushed us through the crowd together. My heart pounded as my eyes scanned the list of names. Once, twice, nothing. Still nothing. Then all of a sudden, someone grabbed my wrist tightly. Look there. Zoe squealed, her voice loud enough to make me wince. Rank 99. Lily Summers. Lily, you made it. Her shout made everyone around us turn to stare. My eyes flew to the list. And when I saw those 3 letters, my name and the number beside it, joy exploded inside me. I did it. I actually did it. I had won. I had beaten Ryan Hall. Not far away, Ryan's expression darkened completely. I smiled, lifted my chin, and walked straight past him. Ryan Hall, I said calmly. I did it. So from now on, don't bother me anymore. You can relax. I'm not interested in you. Ryan's face was cold as stone. Without a word, he turned and walked off, Jenny hurrying after him as usual. I watched his back with a satisfied smile, my mood lighter than it had been in years. That afternoon, I treated myself to a rare lunch of braised pork and ate to my heart's content. During homeroom, Mr. Jan made a special point of praising me. Well done, Lily Summers. Everyone should learn from her example. Study hard and aim for the college of your dreams. Those who had once mocked me now didn't dare say a word. As for Ryan, he seemed like a different person. Every time our eyes met, his gaze carried something complicated, hard to name. Could it be that he regretted it? I thought. Not a chance. From then on, I never lost my momentum. I kept pushing forward, first breaking into the top 80, then the top 50, and finally maintaining a solid position among the top 10 students in the entire grade. Before the college entrance exam, Zoe asked me which university I wanted to apply to. Without hesitation, I said, of course, National Defense University. Zoe thought for a moment, then nodded firmly. That's a good choice. I heard it's tuition-free and even provides living stipends. That way, you won't have to worry about money. I smiled. That's what I was thinking too. This way, I won't owe the whole family anything. Ryan, who had overheard, frowned. Are you that short on money? Didn't my dad give you living expenses? It's never good to live off someone else's generosity, I replied evenly. Besides, the Halls and I aren't actually family. Uncle Henry's already been kind enough to cover my high school expenses. I shouldn't be greedy. My words made his face darken. I had no idea why he was always so easily angered. I'd already made it clear that there was nothing between us, yet he still seemed upset. Honestly, I thought, this man is impossible to please. When exam day came, I was completely prepared. After 3 intense days of testing, I finally felt a huge sense of relief wash over me. Living a second life, finally experiencing the college entrance exam again, felt like I had made up for one of my greatest regrets. No matter what the results would be, I was determined to live boldly this time. My life was no longer tied to Ryan Hall. After the exams, the dorms closed for summer break. Zoe and the others all went home, but I had nowhere to go. Uncle Henry came to pick me up and asked, "How confident are you?" 100%, I said with a smile. I'll definitely get in. Aunt Laura seemed surprised, even a little doubtful that I had done so well. She held my hand warmly, asking about my meals, my sleep, and my study habits. I could tell her attitude toward me had changed, but I also knew it was only because of my grades. A girl with good results, no family background, and a spotless reputation made an ideal match for Ryan Hall in their eyes. Easy to manage and easy to mold. But I was no longer the same girl as before. Ryan's scores weren't as high as mine, and when the final results came out, it was just like in my previous life. He had missed the mark for Capital University again, and could only attend a small local college near home. I had applied to National Defense University. When the acceptance letter arrived, Uncle Henry was so thrilled that he bought firecrackers and set them off, filling the whole courtyard with noise and laughter. The Hall family even hosted a celebration dinner for both Ryan and me. Everyone kept saying we were a perfect match made in heaven. Aunt Laura held my hand warmly. "The first time I saw this girl," she said proudly, "I knew she was meant to be part of our family. And look how amazing she turned out to be." I smiled politely, but inside I was laughing coldly. In my previous life, she hadn't said that at all. Back then, she told me I wasn't good enough, that I couldn't hold on to a man's heart, and that I'd ruined her son's future. Now, the only reason she was being so kind was because I'd gotten into college. I quietly pulled my hand out of hers, keeping my expression calm. Aunt Laura chuckled awkwardly, trying to smooth things over. "Oh, what am I saying? We've already agreed. Henry is your godfather. I'm your godmother. And Ryan's your godbrother. That makes us all one family, doesn't it?" I smiled and gently patted the back of her hand. She froze for a moment, then seemed to realize I truly saw Ryan only as a brother now. I could tell she was a little disappointed, but she quickly let it go. After all, the Hall family had lived in this town for so many years. They could find any kind of daughter-in-law they wanted. Why should they care about a girl like me? After the celebration, I threw myself into earning money. Thanks to my good grades, many parents came to me asking if I could tutor their children. In those days, there weren't any formal tutoring centers yet, so I started my own little study group. I also printed copies of my study notes to sell. I rented a small room and let the children come to me. I tutored 10 hours a day and took on 5 students. I even created my own practice tests based on the Sweet Time curriculum. Each family paid half of the tutoring fee up front, and I tested the kids every 2 weeks. If they improved, I kept teaching them. Word of mouth spread quickly, and soon I was fully booked. I spent the entire summer working nonstop, teaching and preparing lessons. By the end of vacation, my small savings had grown to 500 yuan. Considering that factory workers made only a few dozen a month, this was a fortune. With just a few days left before school started, I wrapped up my tutoring sessions, printed extra copies of my study notes, and sold them too, earning another nice sum. When I returned home, Ryan was waiting for me at the door. "Lily Summers," he said sharply, "you've been avoiding me this entire summer. What exactly are you thinking?" I looked at him calmly. "Avoiding you? What are you talking about? I've been working hard to earn money. Didn't you see? Besides, we agreed you wouldn't bother me anymore. Have you forgotten?" Ryan's chest rose and fell with anger. "I haven't forgotten, but my dad's been good to you." "I know," I said firmly. "Uncle Henry treats me well because he's a good man. But I can't take advantage of your family's kindness just to cling to you shamelessly. Don't you agree?" Before he could reply, I added, "I've already prepared a thank you gift for Uncle Henry. You don't have to remind me. I'm not ungrateful. And by the way, weren't you the one who said you'd crawl around the courtyard 3 times if I got into college? Are you here to keep your word?" Ryan's mouth opened, but no sound came out. He couldn't bring himself to answer, and he definitely didn't want to admit he had misjudged me. He stood there tense and frustrated, his pride wounded. The truth was, I was the one who owed the Hall family a debt of gratitude. Yet now Ryan treated me as if I had wronged him. "Ryan Hall," I said quietly, "you're not a kid anymore. Don't keep people waiting too long." I tilted my head toward the other side of the courtyard. He turned and saw Jenny Chan standing there, gazing at him expectantly. His face darkened immediately. "We don't have that kind of relationship," he said stiffly. I shrugged. "That's none of my business. Whether they ended up together or not had nothing to do with me anymore." All I wanted was to spread my wings and soar freely far, far away from all of this. Without another word, I turned and went back inside. In the end, Ryan still turned and walked across the courtyard. I didn't know what he and Jenny Chun were talking about, but a moment later, her angry voice echoed loudly. You just can't forget her, can you? You two pathetic lovesick fools deserve each other. Honestly, it'd be better if you both disappeared. I sighed silently. I already gave you both a chance, I thought. If you keep clinging to me, don't blame me for being ruthless next time. When it was time for me to leave for college, Uncle Henry personally took me to the train station. Ryan stood upstairs watching me with a hesitant look, as if he wanted to say something but couldn't. I didn't look up at him. I pretended not to notice. After saying goodbye to Uncle Henry, I stepped onto the train and began a new chapter of my life. During my 4 years at university, I never once went back home. Not even during New Year's. That house wasn't home to me anymore. My new life was here, surrounded by classmates and comrades from all over the country. Between the intense training and the packed class schedule, I finally learned how vibrant college life could be, and how much care and support the country gave to students like us. Whenever Uncle Henry called, he always sighed. Ryan just doesn't have your luck, Lily. You were born with drive. Through him, I learned bits and pieces about Ryan and Jenny. They were constantly breaking up and getting back together. Jenny hadn't even gotten into college. After graduating high school, her family arranged a job for her at a textile factory, earning only a few dozen yuan a month. The distance between her and Ryan grew wider and wider. At first, they went on dates every day. Then came the arguments, the breakups, the reconciliations over and over again until finally Ryan's feelings faded completely. He never understood why, without me between them, he and Jenny somehow still couldn't make it work. After graduation, I stayed in the capital and got a job there. Once everything was settled, I returned home to visit Uncle Henry. It had been 4 years, and he looked much older, more tired, and weathered than I remembered. The moment he mentioned Ryan, his face darkened. Lily, you've always been steady. From the moment I first met you, I knew you were going to make something of yourself. And now, working in the capital, that's something most people can only dream of. Not like Ryan. That boy wasted 4 whole years drifting around. After graduation, he got assigned to work at a steel factory. That's not so bad, I said lightly. Stable job, decent pay. In my past life, Ryan had also gone to work at a steel plant. Later, he quit on his own, caught the first wave of the private business boom, and made a fortune. Back then, Uncle Henry hadn't supported his decision. He believed a steady job was better. But later, when the factory restructured, many workers were laid off. Ryan ended up avoiding that disaster altogether. In that life, I had even persuaded Uncle Henry to understand Ryan's rebellion. But this time I didn't want to interfere in his life or his fate anymore. Uncle Henry sighed deeply, his voice full of emotion. Lily, you're a good kid. It's Ryan who's unlucky. You'll do great things. Bring honor to the country. I smiled faintly. Of course, I couldn't tell him the details of my work, but I was sure he had guessed. When Ryan came home and saw me, he froze. I was just about to stand up and leave, so I only gave him a polite nod before heading toward the door. Lily Summers, let me walk you out, he called quickly, catching up. He was wearing a worker's uniform, looking tall and striking as ever, but when he looked at me, there was something different in his eyes. Lily, he said quietly, you're not the same anymore. I was also in uniform, standing tall and confident, sharp, poised and composed. The aura I carried now was something he could never match. As we walked side by side, people passing by couldn't help but glance at us. And then I heard him say those words. I smiled faintly. I've graduated after 4 years of college and will be staying in the capital for work. This time I came back specifically to visit Uncle Henry and Aunt Laura. He hesitated. My mom isn't off work yet. Why don't you stay for dinner tonight? We can all eat together. I shook my head. I can't. I have to catch a flight back. My report is tomorrow and there's no time. You know how it is. Orders are orders. My words made Ryan's expression shift, complicated emotions flickering in his eyes. He let out a quiet sigh. Back then I was young and stupid. I made mistakes and Ryan. I interrupted, looking straight at him. You've been with Jenny Chun for 4 or 5 years now, haven't you? How far have things gone between you two? You've met each other's parents, maybe even talked about marriage, right? He stayed silent, which was as good as an admission. I turned my head and looked at him steadily. If you're a man, then take responsibility for your choices. Don't hide behind excuses like, I was young and foolish. You didn't reject Jenny when she pursued you, did you? In college, you two were known as one of the most popular couples on campus. After graduation, you met her parents and you didn't refuse. Now, after being together for so many years, everyone already knows you're supposed to marry her. Jenny carries your name, Ryan. She's been marked by you. And yet you stand here telling me you regret it. Ryan's mouth opened, but no words came out. He just stood there, speechless. When we reached the corner of the street, I stopped and looked at him one last time. No matter what, Ryan, I still owe the Hall family my thanks for everything you and your father did for me. Before leaving, I placed an envelope on the entryway table. Give this to Uncle Henry. It's a small token of appreciation for all he's done these years. Ryan's expression darkened. Lily Summers, do you really have to draw such a clear line with us? You can give it to him yourself, I said. I don't have time. My work may take me away for good. I might never come back to this small town again. Uncle Henry is a good man, and your family is well off. Do what your heart tells you. Back then, he worked for the Grain Bureau, a respected position. I could never compare to that. The only thing I could do was work hard enough to climb the ladder myself. I never wanted to stand above him. But from now on, no one has the right to control me or use marriage to bind me in gratitude. I took a breath. I'll always be grateful to Uncle Henry. But that doesn't mean I can forgive the way you betrayed me in our last life. This time, nothing happened between us because I woke up before it could. But that doesn't mean you were innocent then. Hearing that, Ryan's shoulders slumped. Lily, you've become amazing, he said quietly. I once had a dream. In that dream we were married, but I couldn't stop being entangled with Jenny. When the earthquake hit, I saved her and watched you die. The pain I felt was unbearable. A cold laugh escaped my lips. But you didn't choose to live in regret forever, did you? You still married Jenny Chun. People even praised your love story as something beautiful and touching. Ryan's face went pale. That wasn't a dream. I met his eyes calmly. No, it wasn't. It was real. It was our previous life. When I was trapped under the rubble, I continued quietly. I regretted everything. Regretted why I clung to you so desperately. Regretted loving someone I could never have. But later I let go. And this time I chose differently. Ryan's lips trembled slightly. He seemed stunned, as if he couldn't believe I remembered too. He had remembered that life as well. But unlike me, he hadn't felt the pain deep enough to carve into his soul. To him, two women fighting for his affection had been a kind of victory. A story of passion and devotion. When he ended up with Jenny Chun, people said Ryan Hall was a man of deep love, finally reunited with his first sweetheart. No one had ever paid attention to the girl who died quietly underground. No one had remembered the country girl, me, who had once loved him so fiercely and lost everything for it. She's getting her comeuppance, Jenny spat. I accepted it. In this life I had made a new choice. I would never wade into their muddy waters again. I would live a clean, upright life. After I said that, I turned and walked away. By the time my figure disappeared, Ryan was behind me, roaring in a heartrending voice. But I didn't look back. I boarded the plane and returned to my post. For the rest of my life, I vowed to work for my country's cause. Over the coming decades, I kept that promise. I never married, dedicating my life to my career and putting romance aside. The next time I saw Ryan was when I was 50. He had still married Jenny, and the two of them had stumbled through half a lifetime together. Once, while they were traveling together and arguing, Ryan suddenly had a stroke and was rushed to the hospital. At that time, I happened to be convalescing nearby. And when I saw Jenny's tear-streaked face, I felt my heart skip. It was like seeing my former self. Jenny clearly recognized me and stared at me in disbelief. She took a step forward but was held back by two bodyguards beside me. I motioned that it was all right. We know each other, I told them, and the two of them stepped aside. Jenny still looked stunned. Lily, long time no see. Decades. I didn't expect you to change so much. She appraised me from head to toe, then suddenly laughed. Ryan spent his whole life thinking about you. Seeing you now, I realize he never deserved you. I shook my head. You've both lived more than half your lives. You're at an age where you should be at peace. Why cling to old things? Besides, I'd already called off the engagement. In total, we spent maybe 3 months together. Jenny's eyes grew wet. You don't know. He never stopped thinking about you. He says he regrets not saving you back then. The night I married him, he was drunk, holding me while whispering your name. I resented him. I was pregnant then, and I carried that grievance for most of my life. Now he's had a stroke. I wish he would just die. She paced, seething. I never expected Ryan to have wronged 2 different women across 2 lifetimes. He doesn't deserve to live well. I nodded. You have every right to be angry, but also loosen your grip a little and learn to love yourself. You gave your whole life to your family. At this age, you can finally do what you want. Jenny looked startled. You don't blame me? She asked. Why would I blame you? You were innocent and so was I. Besides, I never liked Ryan that much. I only felt sorry for an old classmate. We're at the age where we understand fate. It's healthier to let some things go. She laughed and cried at once. You're right. You're right. I knew she only needed an outlet. Like I had once been trapped in my own bitterness, and letting it out helped. It was a pity I had learned that lesson so late. But it's never too late to see clearly. At 50, I could still go on exploring life, and so could she. Jenny left, trembling as she walked away. Watching her retreating figure, I silently told myself there was still time to change, and I would continue to pursue my ideals.